Hello and good morning, everybody. Here with Martin Panev, Chief Account Executive and Trading Analyst, GDMFX. Welcome to today's European Session Market Outlook. Starting with North American markets, as usual. Yesterday, a little bit of a movement considering the lack of it over the last week. The Dow 17 points up, Nasdaq 63. Dixie is up to 96.86 from 96.73. ISM manufacturing PMI 0.1 better than expected at 50.1. Market manufacturing PMI 0.1 better than the expectations. ISM prices paid better than the expectations. Consumer spending better. RBC manufacturing PMI lower than previous by 0.6. Despite the better than expected reports, US manufacturers are still struggling to expand and have curbed hiring in the face of a strong dollar and a cutback in investment by American energy producers. Factory orders month on month is due today. For this week, on Friday, two big events for the US, NFP, Canada, unemployment rate. Moving to the European markets, the DAX 30, the German index, 190 points up yesterday. The French CAC 40, 70 points up. EU manufacturing PMI better than the expectations, 52.3, previous 52. German manufacturing PMI better than the expectations as well. And then France manufacturing pretty much the same, lower than the expectations, lower than previous by 0.01. Italian manufacturing PMI better than the expectations, 54.1. Swiss retail sales, as expected and better than previous at 0.2%. European stocks were seen opening higher today, building on momentum from the previous session that was driven by solid regional economic data and expectations of monetary support from the European Central Bank. The Eurozone's third bailout for Greece is likely to be smaller than the initially envisaged 86 billion euros, because of the European Central Bank's stress tests of Greek banks showed that they need less recapitalization than Eurozone's bailout fund said. The results of the ECB's test announced earlier on Saturday showed that the Greece banks need to raise more than 14 billion euros of extra capital to cover mounting unpaid loans. The capital hole has emerged chiefly due to rising number of Greeks unable or unwilling to repay their debt after a dispute over reforms between the leftist government and the international lenders almost saw Greece leave the Eurozone. As controls on cash withdrawals have squeezed the economy, loans at risk of non-payment have increased by 7 billion euros to 107 billion euros. Today, we have Mario Draghi's speech. Tomorrow, we have the ECB non-monetary policy meeting and also market services PMI. On Thursday, we have the inflation data for the Swiss CPI reports and retail sales for the European zone. Friday, German industrial production, and that's about it for the week for the major events. Asian Pacific markets, the Nikkei 225, 160 points up yesterday, opened with a bullish gap of 25 points, dropped with 40 points already today. The Asian stocks climbed after signals of stabilization in global manufacturing activity, which helped drive the Standard & Poor's 500 index to levels not seen since before China's yuan devaluation in August. Australia's dollar extended gains as the central bank held interest rates steady. China is set to become a hotbed for the $100 billion market in bonds tied to environmentally friendly investments as authorities and developers seek alternatives to loan for funding a transformation to clean energy supplies. Today is a cultural day. Over there, the banks are closed. We have one report later on, which is for Japan monetary base. On Wednesday, We have the Caixin China Services PMI, also monetary policy meeting minutes from the Bank of Japan. On Friday, Governor Karuda will have a speech, and also we will have the regular foreign bond and foreign stocks investments in Japan. These are all due by the end of the week on Friday. Moving to the Pacific sector, yesterday we were expecting the Royal Bank of Australia to get another cut of the interest rate. However, it remained unchanged at 2%. There was also a bank at the statement there. Key commodity prices are much lower than a year ago, in part of reflecting increased supply, including from Australia. The country's terms of trade are falling. The available information suggests that moderate expansion in the economy continues, while gross domestic product growth has been somewhat below longer-term averages for some time. Business surveys suggest a gradual improvement in conditions over the past year. Inflation is also forecast to be consistent with the target over the next 1 or 2 years, but a little lower than earlier anticipated. The outlook for inflation and sustainable growth will be the scope for further easing of the cash rate in the future. We are expecting a probable rate cut in December, if I'm not mistaken. Today, we have the participation, employment and unemployment for New Zealand, also trade balance for the Aussies, including imports and exports reports. Tomorrow, Governor Glenn Stevens will have a speech, and also Governor Lowe will also deliver his speech. We're also expecting the retail sales report for Australia. On Thursday, we're going to see the Australian Performance of Construction Index. And, of course, Friday, we're going to have the Royal Bank of Australia monetary policy statement, which will be the end of the Tier 1 events for the Pacifics for the week. Moving to the commodity sector, S&P 500 index had a range of 36 points, currently at 2,100. Gold had a range of $10, trading at 1,138 currently. Silver had a range of 30 cents, currently at 15.45. WTI had $1 range at 46.20 currently. Natural gas is trading at 2.24 at the moment, range of 4 cents yesterday. A little bit of fundamentals. Gold prices slumped to near monthly lows on Monday as mixed manufacturing data in China provided investors with added uncertainty on demand in the world's second largest economy. The crude futures fell considerably on Monday as record high production in Russia last month and mixed economic data in China exacerbated worries on the impact of a long-term supply glut on global energy markets. Something interesting here, Russia reported that production last month hit a post-Soviet record of 10.78 million barrels per day, slightly above its daily September level of 10.74 million. Crude oil gained in Asia on rebound from overnight declines as investors awaited an industry report in the U.S. stockpiles. Tomorrow, crude oil stock change. Thursday, natural gas storage change. And that will be all from me for today. Thank you very much for your attention. I wish you a successful trading day. Cheers.